Have you ever wondered how people 4,000 years ago moved huge amounts of water, built giant towers, read the sky like a computer? Ancient Babylon did all this. And, some parts still puzzle us. We look at the ruins, we read the clay tablets, we see evidence of a civilization that was shockingly advanced. They didn't have smartphones, they didn't have factories, they didn't even have what we would call science in the modern sense. Yet, they engineered their world with a level of precision and scale that defies our expectations. This isn't a story about aliens. This is a story about human ingenuity at its most raw and powerful. We're going on a journey back in time, to a place called Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers. Here, the city of Babylon rose from the dusty plains. We will explore three big mysteries. So, how do you get water to go where you want it to, especially uphill? The Babylonians faced a classic engineering problem. Their farms and gardens often sat higher than the river level, especially during the dry season. Carrying water by hand in clay pots is slow, back-breaking work. It can't support a city of tens of thousands. They needed machines to lift water, tirelessly, day after day. What kind of technology did they develop to solve this? One of the simplest and most effective machines they used is called the shaduf. Imagine a long wooden pole balanced on a post, like a seesaw. On the short end, you tie a heavy rock or a big lump of clay as a counterweight. On the long end, you attach a rope and a bucket. A single worker could easily pull the rope down, dipping the bucket into the river. When they let go, the counterweight would do most of the work, lifting the full bucket up to a canal or a field. It's elegant, it's simple. It's a brilliant use of leverage and balance. The shaduf was a game changer. One person using a shaduf could lift about 2,500 liters of water a day. That's enough to irrigate a small plot and keep a family's crops alive. We see pictures of these devices in ancient art from Mesopotamia and Egypt. It's a testament to the idea that sometimes the most effective technology is not the most complicated. The shaduf is a beautiful example of human intelligence, finding a simple, mechanical solution to a huge problem. It's physics in action, powered by a single person, transforming a dry landscape into a garden. But the shaduf has its limits. It's great for small-scale irrigation, but what if you need to move a truly massive amount of water? What if you need to supply the legendary hanging gardens of Babylon? Some ancient texts and artistic depictions hint at more complex machines. They suggest the Babylonians may have used large animal-powered wheels, animals turning a giant wheel. As the wheel turned, the buckets would scoop up water from the river, lift it to the top, and then tip it into a trough, feeding the higher-level canals. This would be a significant step up in mechanical complexity. Okay, the shaduf is clever, but it's not going to water a wonder of the ancient world. So, did the Babylonians have something more advanced? This is where the evidence gets a little murky and the mystery deepens. Some scholars propose they used a far more sophisticated device, the water screw. You might know it as the Archimedes screw. It's a large spiral inside a cylinder. Turn the crank at the bottom. The spiral acts like a continuous ramp, lifting water up. But Archimedes lived more than 1,000 years after Babylon's height. So calling it an Archimedes screw might be a historical mistake. There is tantalizing, though debated, evidence of a similar device much earlier in Mesopotamia. Some Assyrian carvings show screw-like patterns used in garden irrigation. If Babylonians invented the water screw, it rewrites their engineering level, a true piece of lost high-tech. Another possibility, a more complex water wheel driven by the river, or pushed by animals walking in a circle, a step up from a simple bucket chain. It involves gears. Yes, gears. Simple wooden gears transferring circular motion to vertical lift. We lack archaeological wooden remains. Wood rots. But we have textual references. Cuneiform tablets list parts for what could be such machines. Axles, hubs, spokes. Like cryptic assembly manuals we can't fully read. These machines, screws or geared wheels, represent a major leap, beyond leverage into continuous, automated motion. the ancient equivalent of an electric pump. The idea Babylonian engineers used helical motion, gear ratios, animal-powered automation. It forces us to redraw our picture of the ancient world. Not just muscle and sweat, a world of minds building complex machines at scale. The water was just the beginning. Now, let's look up. Building Babylon's towers, the stairways to heaven. Away from the rivers and fields, to the skyline of the city itself. Dominating the view was the ziggurat, a massive, stepped pyramid, not with a smooth face like in Egypt, but with a series of terraces rising to a shrine at the very top. The most famous one in Babylon was named Etemenanki, which translates to the Temple of the Foundation of Heaven and Earth. This is widely believed to be the inspiration for the biblical story of the Tower of Babel. How on earth did they build something so colossal? A literal man-made mountain, using materials from a muddy river plain. The primary building block was the humble mud brick. Millions and millions of them. The land was rich in clay, but not in stone. So they became master brickmakers. They packed wet clay into wooden molds and then left them to bake hard in the relentless sun. Or, for more important structures, fired them in kilns to create a much stronger, water-resistant brick. This was an industrial-scale operation. You need an organized workforce, a steady supply of clay and water, and vast areas for drying. The logistics alone are mind-boggling. It's like managing a modern factory, but 4,000 years ago. But how do you glue millions of bricks together to build a tower hundreds of feet high? They used bitumen, that natural, sticky, black tar we mentioned earlier. It's seeped from the ground in parts of Mesopotamia. It's a fantastic natural waterproofing agent and a strong adhesive. Builders would heat the bitumen and slather it between the layers of brick. This black mortar not only held the structure together, but also protected the core of sun-dried bricks from moisture, which would have turned them back into mud. The real genius, though, was in the structural design. A solid pile of bricks that big would be unstable. Its own weight could cause it to collapse. So, Babylonian architects designed the ziggurats with a complex internal structure. They used a system of buttresses and retaining walls inside the main body of the tower. They also interspersed layers of reed mats within the brickwork every few feet. These mats acted like a kind of ancient rebar, reinforcing the structure and helping to distribute the immense weight evenly. This sophisticated design ensured their artificial mountains would stand for centuries. The secret math of the bricklayers. So you have the bricks and the glue. But how do you make sure your giant tower doesn't lean over and fall? How do you get the corners perfectly square and the sides perfectly straight? You can't just eyeball it when you're building on that scale. The answer is math. The Babylonians were brilliant, practical mathematicians. They didn't do math for the fun of it. They did it to solve real-world problems like building a city. How do we know? They left behind their homework, written on thousands of clay tablets. One of the most famous of these tablets is a little clay square known as Plimpton, 322. It looks like a simple table of numbers, but what it actually shows is a list of Pythagorean triples. Those are sets of numbers that fit the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The rule for right-angled triangles. This tablet was written more than 1,000 years before Pythagoras was even born. This knowledge was a builder's superpower. It allowed them to create perfect right angles for the foundations of their temples and ziggurats, ensuring their massive structures were stable and true. They also had standardized units of measurement. The basic unit was the cubit, roughly the length from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger. They had units for length, area, volume, weight. Archaeologists have found actual measuring rods and standardized stone weights. This system was crucial not just for building, but for everything. It allowed them to survey land, calculate the number of bricks needed for a wall, measure out grain for workers' rations, and conduct fair trade. It was the operating system of their entire economy. So, when you picture a Babylonian construction site, don't just imagine thousands of laborers hauling mud bricks. Picture a foreman, or an architect scribe, holding a clay tablet with a blueprint etched into it, using marked ropes and plumb bobs to check angles and vertical lines. They were using geometry and arithmetic to guide the construction at every step, The ziggurat wasn't just a pile of mud, it was a triumph of mathematics, a physical manifestation of their understanding of numbers and space. The structure was as much a product of the mind as it was of muscle. The sky as a clock, stars, and planets. After mastering the earth and the water, the Babylonians turned their gaze upward, to the sky. And what they did there was perhaps their most mind-bending achievement. To them, the sky was not just a beautiful canopy of lights. It was a giant clock. It was a calendar. It was a divine message board. For centuries, scribes climbed ziggurats every night. They observed and recorded the movements of the moon. They recorded the planets. They recorded the stars. They weren't just stargazing, they were collecting data. And they wrote everything down on clay tablets. This obsessive record-keeping paid off. Over generations, a massive astronomical database grew. By analyzing records, they found patterns in the heavens. They were the first to identify 5 naked-eye planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. They tracked their strange, looping paths across the sky. They realized movements weren't random but followed predictable cycles. The shift. The universe was ordered and understandable. Their biggest predictive win: eclipses. By tracking the moon's path, they found the Saros cycle. This is about 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, after which the sun, the moon, the earth return to similar relative positions. This let them predict when a lunar or solar eclipse was possible. They couldn't promise visibility from Babylon, but an eclipse is possible in the next few months. In a time of omens, that was powerful. Systematic sky observation also birthed the zodiac. They split the sun's path through the stars into 12 equal segments. Each segment had a specific constellation, the original 12 signs. This wasn't tabloid horoscopes, it was practical sky mapping. The sun's position in the zodiac marked seasons, when to plant, when to harvest, a celestial calendar that governed life on Earth. Section 8. The first computers were made of clay, so they could predict eclipses. But how? Did they have some kind of secret astronomical device? A brass astrolabe? A geared machine? The answer is even more amazing. Their most powerful device wasn't a physical machine at all. It was mathematics. They developed arithmetic so advanced they could calculate future planetary positions without looking at the sky. Their computers were clay tablets. The software was step-by-step instructions, algorithms a scribe could follow. These were not simple addition and subtraction problems. They built complex mathematical models for planets' variable speeds. The scribe would start with a known position, then follow a set of rules, add values from a table, or subtract values from a table, find the next position, then the next, then the next. It was in essence a computational program. This peaked around 300 BCE. Tablets from then are astonishingly complex. Functions step up and down in zigzag patterns to approximate changing speeds. Now, to lost blueprints and missing machines. With all this incredible knowledge of math and astronomy, it's tempting to wonder, did they build more machines than we know about? Did they create devices that have been lost to time? This is where we enter the realm of speculation, guided by intriguing but incomplete clues. We have cuneiform tablets that are difficult to interpret. Some contain strange diagrams that look tantalizingly like blueprints or schematics. They show circles, lines, labels. Are these plans for a complex water clock? A geared device for tracking the planets? Or are they simply religious or mystical diagrams that we are misinterpreting with our modern eyes? There are persistent legends, written down much later by Greek and Roman authors, of wonders in Babylon. Stories of self-operating devices or automata, tales of thrones with moving figures, temple doors that opened as if by magic. We know the Babylonians were skilled metalworkers and artisans. It's not a huge leap to imagine them creating small, clever mechanical toys, or ceremonial devices designed to inspire awe and demonstrate the power of the king or the gods. The line between technology and magic was very blurry. The biggest mystery might be the one we started with, the hanging gardens. If they did exist, the watering system would have to have been a true engineering marvel, requiring a powerful, continuous lifting mechanism, a massive water screw, or a complex system of water wheels running 24/7. But here's the catch. Archaeologists have never found conclusive evidence of the gardens in Babylon itself. Wood rots, metal corrodes, unbaked clay dissolves. It's entirely possible that the Babylonians built incredible machines out of perishable materials that have simply vanished. The echo of Babylon's genius. What's the final lesson? It's that innovation doesn't require electricity or computers. It requires observation, record-keeping, a practical need. The Babylonians faced challenges, floods, droughts, the need to build on a grand scale. They met them with ingenuity, the simple leverage of the shaduf, the abstract mathematics of their planetary tables. A civilization can achieve incredible things with a deep understanding of basic principles: leverage, geometry, arithmetic. We stand in awe of their ziggurats, their astronomical predictions, but their most enduring legacy is far more fundamental. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives. Think about how we measure time. Why are there 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour? Why does a circle have 360 degrees? That's not a natural number. It's not based on tens, like our counting system. It comes directly from the Babylonians. They used a base 60 number system. 60 can be divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, which made calculations with fractions much easier. Every time you look at a clock, you are using Babylonian technology. Every time you use degrees to measure an angle in navigation or construction, you are using a Babylonian invention, born out of their need to track the heavens, to build their cities. This system has survived for 4,000 years. It has outlasted their empire, their temples, their gods. It's an invisible piece of their lost world still with us, ticking on our wrists, guiding our GPS systems. The ultimate testament to their intellectual power.